Hello and welcome to Asliga.com. In this brief introduction video, I'm just going to very quickly show you what Asliga can do and explain to you how it can help you consistently achieve a high fantasy football score week to week. So it can help you in a number of ways, but I'm just going to talk about the most important. The first one is it can help you spend your budget wisely. And it does this by creating a weekly target, which is up here, and you can change this to whatever you want, depending on what your fantasy goals are. So at the moment it's set to 55, I can set it to 60 or 70, whatever it might be. I'm just going to leave it at 55 for the moment. And what that does is it helps you create a pass score so you can then work out how much each player needs to be averaging on week to week for you to hit that score. And it does that based on the player's price. So the more a player costs, the more you would expect from them. Now, you can see these stats here are based, at the moment, are based over the season. I can change that to whatever I want. So I can maybe go over the last 6 weeks. It'll just take a sec to recalculate, and you'll see all the numbers change. Now, Suarez is the dearest player in my team, and he cost me 13.3 million. His required weekly points for me to hit 55 is 9.4 points per game. Someone who's a bit cheaper, like Whittingham, he cost me 5.3 million, and his required weekly points are 3.8 points per game. And you can see both those players are currently hitting their target and how much they're averaging above that target. Some other players in my team aren't quite performing as expected. Lukaku there is only hitting 4.2 points per game, when based on his price should be hitting 6.2. So it can help you do that, and by keeping all this in the green, it'll help you, consistently achieve that high score. And if you're brave enough to get rid of the players in the red, then hopefully you can bring in players who are averaging more points, and will bring up your weekly total. The other thing this tool does very well is it helps you to get an indication of how involved your players are week to week from a fantasy points perspective. Now, if you're anything like me, you don't get to watch all 10 games every week. So there's going to be players in your team that you don't really know how they're traveling. Any more than the 2 or the 5 or the 6, whatever that score is you see on your scorecard at the end of the week. So the Asliga Index score is here to help. What this does, it only measures actions in a game that are relevant to bring you fantasy points. So it doesn't take into account anything like tackles won, aerial duels won, pass success rate, anything like that. You can have 100% of passes but never have a shot on goal. You can win every single tackle but never go near the 6-yard box. We only measure things like crosses, shots, key passes and things like that. So the ALI is very closely linked to the kind of points that a player could potentially return. We don't award players points for goals or assists because a player could touch the ball 3 times in a game theoretically and score 3 goals with those 3 touches. And if you were to see the ALI at the end of that game week, it would look like they had a ripper of a game when in reality they may have got lucky. And you really want to keep players in your team who are constantly involved all the time. A high level of involvement means you're creating a lot of chances to score fantasy points. You can click on any player to see their ALI and points per game over the season. You can see here David Silva's been injured a little bit, but you can sort of see his ALI is very closely related to his weekly score. The yellow line is his Asliga Index score, and the red line is his weekly point score. So he's got a very high ALI. Some other players you might find, let's have a look at Turner, are quite low. So his ALI is 1 or 2 or 4, depending on whether they kept a clean sheet or not. And you want to really keep this number here as high as possible. So over the last 6 weeks, my ALI has only been 57.3. A good ALI score for your team would be something like 75 or 80. You can also come down here and find players very quickly. So I can search players by name. Lampard, there he is. I can click on him and have a look at all his stats. There it is. I can also search via position, so I can look at midfielders. I can look at forwards, or I can search by team. So I can choose Cardiff, for instance, and I can order all these columns by just clicking any column. So if I want to see the highest ALI in Cardiff, I can see there it's Whittingham with 6.3. The most expensive player in Cardiff is Odemwingie at 5.5. And, you know, I can sub players out of my team, so I can get rid of Suarez and bring in Odin Wingy if I want. Oops, no I can't because I've already got 3 Norwich players. Sorry, Cardiff players. But I could bring in, say... Let's have a look. I could bring in Van Persie if I wanted. There you go. Very easy to switch. I can also sub very quickly. Play with 5 defenders if I really wanted to. And that's basically the very quick overview of what this tool can do. I've got a little notepad down here for you to write notes in case you don't want to forget something. Maybe a double game week coming up. Maybe a player you want to keep your eye on. You can also pin players if you want to keep an eye on someone that way. But it's here to help, and I hope you find it valuable. There's a few other videos on this website that will give you an indication, give you a further explanation, I should say, of how the ALI works, how to use the weekly target and other features on the site. But this is the quick overview, so good luck. I hope it works for you, and I hope you start to increase your game week total from here on out. Thanks a lot.